Hey guys, it's Ethan here with another video. And in today's video, I am going to be doing a book review on the third book in the Keeper of the Lost City series, titled Everblaze by Sand Messenger. So with that said, let's dive straight into today's video. At the beginning of the story, Sophie and Fitz, they teleport to this new sanctuary where Sylvia, who is this ancient alicorn, is being held. Now, it turns out that at first, Sylvia, she was being held at Havenfield, but for safety protocols and reasons, she had to be moved because it was getting too dangerous. And when Sophie and Fitz are there, they notice something very odd. They actually spot this small tracking device on her tail. So, the next night, Sophie tells Grady at dinner what he thinks this might mean, and he tells Sophie that he thinks that these orgs broke into the sanctuary and tried to kidnap her. Later in the book, Sophie is very nervous because she has to perform this mind break on Finton, and you guys probably know who Finton is. He was this evil elf who created this fire called Everblaze, which killed thousands and millions of people. And once Sophie performs this mind break, she actually loses control, and Finton manages to set the whole building in which this is taking place on fire. While some manage to escape, some aren't so lucky, like Counselor Kenrick tragically and sadly dies. A couple of weeks later, the council decides to have this memorial/meeting at the Wandering Woods, where everyone pays their respects, and it's kind of a period where everyone is sad and everyone's grieving. So the council also decides that there's going to be no school for a couple of weeks. When Sophie is at the funeral, she actually runs into the head leader of the orgs, and his name is King Demeter. And since she is so curious, she actually probes his mind and tries to sneak into his mind. But you guys know that breaking into someone's mind without their permission is against the Elven treaty and law. So because of this, Sophie is punished, and her punishment is that she is not going to serve in exile, but she's going to have to wear this device on her head, which will take away her powers and her telepathic abilities. A little later in the book, Mr. Forko and Sophie and her friends, they find more clues from the Black Swan, and they also discover that there are 5 new unmapped stars in which they follow, and they travel to these new dimensions. And once they are in their last portal, they are trapped on this island, and there they meet the rebels of this new organization called the Neverseen, and they also meet some dwarfs who tell them that there's going to be this huge rebellion, and it was all because of Sophie. With Sophie very curious, she decides to look into some more boxes in Zoe's old room, and she actually finds this other clue which tells her she has to find this window in Italy. And at first, she doesn't really know how to comprehend it, but after some more clue digging, she finds out that the more clear context is that she has to find this hidden mirror that Zoe had. And she actually finds this mirror, and hidden behind the mirror, there is this diary in which Zoe wrote. In the diary, she finds many secrets she kept, like her and Brant, they actually had a bad match with each other, and they actually fell in love, but other people, they disagreed with this, and that's why Zoe and Brant didn't have a good relationship. We also come to know that Brant was actually Zoe's killer, which actually surprised me, and he was the one that also helped Finton create Everblaze. A few chapters later, Grady and Sophie, they come to the decision that they are going to Brant's house and they're going to make him pay. But once they are there, Brant finds out about this, and he actually causes this huge fire to cascade, and Sophie and Grady, they hardly make it out alive, but luckily Sophie manages to survive, as always, and she meets her friends at Mount Everest. When they're at Mount Everest, there is this huge battle, and we come to know that the one behind this whole dilemma was actually Keefe's mom, Mrs. Sensen, and she was one of the allies in the rebels. And Keefe, after this, feels very heartbroken and sad because he felt like he trusted her, but in the end, she actually was a traitor. For the last couple of pages, Sophie and her friends, they decide that they are not going to stop trying to find out who the Black Swan is, and they are not going to stop to try to uncover their secrets. So they make a huge debate and a worldwide decision that they are going to disguise and they are going to join the Black Swan.